Hey guys, I'm going to talk to you about the 5 things you should be doing as a GCSE or A-level student in the year 2021. What do we know so far? So, the Dark Lord himself has released the statement that GCSE examinations and A-level examinations in the year 2021 will be cancelled. So where does that leave you guys? Well, we've had some further clarification, and the clarification is that you will get teacher assessed grades. So what does that mean? Well, last year in the year 2020, we had teacher assessed grades plus the algorithm of Ofqual being used. This year they've decided to ditch the algorithms, but that does not mean there will be any less irritation or annoyance for students with the way this system is going to work out. In my opinion, exams are the fairest and should be, in most scenarios, the only way to test a student's ability. So why should you care? Well, you should care because the GCSE and A-levels, whilst they themselves don't win you any trophies or prizes, the way I see it is they're like the qualifying round of a football World Cup, right? So you have to first qualify to be able to get into the quarterfinals or the semi-finals to win the big trophy, which is the World Cup. So if you want to win the World Cup, you gotta first qualify, right? You gotta get out of those group stages. So in essence, GCSE and A-levels, whilst they don't kind of make you super successful by doing well in them, they are the qualifying rounds in the tournament that's your life. So knowing that examinations are the fairest way of doing things and predicted grades therefore won't be, and that these are super important time and qualifications of your lives, then what do? Well, I've got 5 tips that you guys should be focusing on. Number 1, carry on preparing as if the examinations never got cancelled. So business as usual. So prepare as if the exams were still in June, May, July, and prepare as if nothing had changed. So you carry on working at that same intensity or up your intensity even more, and just crack on. Okay, so that's the first and most important tip, right? Once you lose that momentum, then it can become quite difficult to regain it. Okay, so we want to continue with business as usual, crack on with those tutorials, crack on with that revision plan, and that's number 1. Number 2, be more specific towards your own school. So previously, a top student would have tried to branch out of the school and think broadly in terms of the exam board. Okay, so what does AQA say I have to learn? What does OCR say I have to learn? Rather than what your school was telling you. Okay, because schools often miss off important pieces of information. They sometimes focus on certain aspects. So some teachers are specialists in certain areas, so they will teach you more of that, and they will teach you more of that in more depth. But that doesn't necessarily mean that's the only thing that you would get tested on in a normal examination, the June examinations that you would have had. But now that you will be assessed by school teachers, you need to think about what does your school want you to know, and that is what you need to focus on. All right, so we need to start becoming more specific to our schools. And remember, this is very important. Probably the most important piece of information here is that whilst official GCSE examinations may have been cancelled, this does not mean that school mock tests or school mini tests or topic tests or even online tests will be cancelled. More than likely that those are the mechanisms that your school teachers will use to give you an assessed grade. So this teacher assessed grade, it's got to come from somewhere, right? So you may have done mocks before, but you are more than likely, in my opinion, to do some further mocks or further mini tests that will go along. Yeah. What does good look like? Okay, so building on from point number 2, you need to start asking your school teachers, what in your eyes is an A-star assessment worthy student over the next 4 months, over the next 5 months? Okay, your teachers may tell you, this is not up to us, Ofqual or the exam board will tell us how to assess the students, etc. But No, listen carefully. What you want to tell them is, what would you, if it was up to you, what would you want the students to do to be able to allocate them an A star or a grade 9? Okay, so this is very important. So you need to ask specifically, what do they expect from you if the exam results were up to them? Secret, it is up to them, even though they'll pretend that it's not down to them, right? So it's an open secret, right, that it is up to them ultimately. So whilst they will have restrictions around how they can offer you that grade, they will have in their back of their mind, this is what a model student looks like, and you need to find out what that model student is, because you can't prove yourself in an official examination no more. So you have to find out the criteria for you to get that grade 9 or a grade A star. Ideally, get this criteria in writing. A lot of teachers, I've already heard, over the last few months, a lot of the teachers have already been very conservative from the back end of year 10 to start of year 11, when they've kind of been predicting grades, because they've been looking forward, they've been looking ahead and thinking, if this exam cancellation happens again, which has happened, they want to cover their backs, because they don't want you coming back in August and saying, hey, I was doing so well in the start of year 11, how come you gave me a poor grade? So a lot of schools, rightly or wrongly, well, mostly wrongly, I suppose, they've kind of undermined their students by kind of giving them lower grades to kind of cover their own backs, which is obviously not cool, but that's the situation we're in. So you want these things in writing. You want to know, if I do X, Y, and Z, okay, my teacher is likely to think I'm an A star student, right? Whether that includes getting X number of marks on certain papers, whether that's showing the teacher that you've done X, online courses or modules or certain amount of work that they want you to do, whatever whatever you need to show to the school teacher, you need to find out what that is and get it ideally in writing, okay? So, and this also has the added benefit, of course, that you're working towards something tangible. Yeah, you want to reduce the variables in your life, because right now you're walking into the unknown. You don't really know what am I supposed to do in my online lessons. Like, if I answer questions in class, does that count towards something? Or is it only tests that we're going to do at the end? Or is it just turning up? Or is it not even going to matter? And it's all what was done previously, like the mocks that I've sat. So you need to find that out in concrete writing, what's going on. Okay. Point number 4. Okay. Prep for the winter examinations. Okay. As I said earlier, yes, they've taken out the algorithms, but most of this is now a judgment call of a teacher. And we humans, we are very, very, very bad judges of character and personality, and by extension, academics. So I can guarantee you there will be many, many, many disappointed students, regardless of how they go about doing this teacher predicted grades. Okay, many students will be disappointed, unfortunately, and that's just the way the cookie is going to crumble. Okay, so you, as a smart student, as an intelligent student of life, you want to mitigate those risks. How do you mitigate those? Well, you continue studying towards your winter examinations. So these are examinations that you could sit in October or November, should you not get the grades in August. And I know what you guys are thinking. Okay, you know what? I'll just see what I get in August, and if I struggle, if I don't get the grades, then I'll prep for it. Well, here's a newsflash: you don't have enough times. Yeah, especially for A levels, you will only have as little as 4 to 5 weeks. By the time you've decided and you've got into the groove of things, that's a little bit too late to get the top grades across 3 or 4 A levels. Okay, and likewise, the same goes for GCSEs, because you're likely going to be in sixth form doing A levels, and juggling that with the GCSEs is going to be a headache. And what we found was those students who prepped throughout the summer for the winter exams, they came out with flying colors, with A stars across the board. And those students who didn't and left it after August, pretty much none of them did anything respectable in the A level results that have come out so far. Okay, so tip number 4, make sure you prep for winter examinations. Last but not least, diversify your identity. Yeah. What do I mean by that? I mean, don't wrap all of your identity around that student who's meant to do well in examinations and whose whole identity and whole self-esteem relies around exam results. Because these exam results aren't in your control, and even the normal exams, even if you sat the exams, not everything in your life is going to be in your control. So you need to kind of have multiple pots that you are betting on. So start thinking about staples that will help you in life. So programming, reading, and public speaking. If you work on those 3 skills alone for the rest of the next 8-9 months, you're in a very, very good place. And I think those are the 5 most important things that you could do right now. If you have any specific questions, feel free to fire them at me. I'm here to help you guys, and just give me a shout. Okay? So thanks for listening. Take care.